I come back to the awareness of the situation here and now, that I keep this experience of peace with me. In just a minute, to go inside and connect with that peace is something I can learn to do very naturally and easily. There are many different moments when we have that possibility of just taking that time to go within and experience that power of silence that's able to heal me. Creating thoughts that can take me within, changing the quality of my thoughts, and finding that peace within is able to remove the heat of negativity. I've mentioned anger, but think about all the other negative forces that govern the world today. And never mind governing the world, but that influence me from time to time. Whether it's jealousy and envy, whether it's ego, whether it's possessiveness and attachment, there's a whole long range of things that we go through. Fear, insecurity, and all of these things create that sense of discomfort and unease within ourselves. And if I take a moment to go into silence in this way, I connect not only with the peace that is there within, but in the silence, I connect with the truth that is there within. I connect with the love that is there within. And all of these qualities actually transform the experience of negativity into something that's very beautiful and positive, and I'm able to move on in a very different way. It's been said that when there's fear, then the extreme opposite of that is love. It's a fact. And I won't go into the detail of that at this point, but just to say that anything that's negative that comes up in my mind, in silence, you're able to discover the antidote. You're able to discover the other end of the spectrum. And by connecting with those original qualities of goodness within, you're able to tap into those qualities. And that positive experience is able to dispel the negativity. It's like when I have many desires. I want. And today's world of consumerism and materialism is absolute fuel for this fire in which I can never be content. I can never be still and quiet inside, because there's always a shopping list. There's always things that I want to attain on an external level. I'm not talking about the opposite of that being stagnation and just sitting down quietly and being passive. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being appreciative of what it is I have, having that sense of gratitude for my own fortune, so that really, what is it that I want? I have so much that rather I'd like to share, instead of being needy and having desires and wanting. And so again, that state of discontent in which desires multiply and lead to envy and jealousy and all of that, the antidote of that, the peace and the contentment that is there within the self. And so experiment with these things and you'll find how silence is the richness of the treasures within, there's an expression that's used that most people don't actually experience in their life. They talk about silence being golden, but I don't know that many have had that experience of silence being so beautiful that it shines like gold and it's a treasure store like gold. But this is the way to attain it, using the right thoughts, the right understanding, and being able to go inside. A silence that's sweet, a silence that's deep and full. And so on one level, what we're doing in silence is transforming that which is negative into that which is positive by connecting with the deepest treasures within. On another level, there's the connection that we make with the divine, and the healing power of that silence is truly that which allows us to become whole once again. Whatever is our attainment on the external level, my position, my possessions, my prestige, all the external things that we're used to associating with, that we hinge our identity on. If I don't have a car and I don't have this particular type of car, I feel as if I've been stripped. Something's been taken away from me. Or if there isn't that nameplate outside the door that gives my designation, again, who am I? I've lost my identity. And so we base our own self-esteem and our identity and our value on all the external things. And of course, that's a little bit dangerous. The nameplate gets stripped away. I've lost that job. I've lost that position. Who am I? Where am I? Is it a crisis? Yes, it is. So when you base things on all these external things, then there's going to be one crisis after another, and the soul's going to go through a lot of feelings that are not very healthy feelings. But when I learn to base my identity on who I am in terms of my own inner being, there's a very different experience. But for most of us, the external things, and no matter how wonderful all of that may be, yet still, the experiences we've been through life, in particular, I'm thinking about relationships, maybe right from infancy through until the moment I'm ready to depart, we accumulate so many different wounds that we've carried, and we've allowed them to fester, and we've allowed them to interfere in our life. How do you heal all of these things? Sometimes you don't even recall what it is that created the wound and the pain, but it's there. It's definitely still being carried. And my experience tells me that when there are such things, there is only one way to be able to heal that. And I'm thinking about the experience of the love that comes from the divine. I don't think there is any other experience that can actually heal those wounds and make someone complete and whole. But that connection with the divine, yes, that's able to bring about this transformation. The reason being that when I connect with a human being, what is normal within a human relationship is an exchange. That's what you would expect, that there's giving and taking, and that's what constitutes a relationship. But the problem with relationships today is that there's a huge amount of expectation on both sides, and so it isn't so much a question of giving and taking and sharing, but rather it's becoming just simply a taking, and two sides, and you want to take. What's going to happen? It's not going to work very well. And so instead of relationships being strong and healthy and nurturing and sustaining, now how many relationships are like that? Very, very rare. Go back through your own life experience, and I don't think there's that many that you'll be able to classify in that way of sustaining and nourishing and nurturing. And it's because all of us have come to a situation where we're depleted of our own inner power. And so at this point of time, especially again, it's a worldwide phenomenon, a situation that's universal. It's at this moment that we're in desperate need of being able to connect with the divine and being able to draw from up above the love that's able to fill us and nurture us and heal us. And the only possibility of allowing this to happen is in silence. Human connections, even those actually, are not just through words. If I'm communicating with you, but your mind is elsewhere, or my mind is elsewhere, the communication doesn't happen. And rather than a communication, there's problems and misunderstandings. And so even in terms of human connections, when our minds are together, there's that silent connection, then the words are meaningful and significant, and there's pleasure and joy in those. And especially in terms of the relationship with the divine, my words are not the factor, but it's my thoughts. And more than even a mind that's spinning many thoughts, a mind that's able to be quiet and still, and in that stillness I'm able to experience the presence of the divine. And the power of that love is able to reach me and heal me. From the very first moment that I'm able to connect, that love is able to start the process of healing. And again, it's not a story of going on pilgrimages to the top of the mountains or going into the jungles and cutting yourself off from the world, but it's a very natural and easy connection. Earlier I was talking about the being of light that I am, that you are. The physical form, yes, but the inner being is a being of light. In the same way, the divine, the supreme, no human images, no other artifacts, not even angelic forms, but just a being of light. That light which has absolute love and truth and beauty and joy. And connecting in silence with that being is totally natural. You just have to tune your consciousness, just like you have to tune your radio set and you're able to catch the transmission from the transmitter. The receiver has to be tuned. That's the only thing. If the receiver isn't tuned, it's not able to catch that transmission. Same thing. In silence, I'm able to tune my consciousness so that I connect, and the healing power of love is able to reach me. What I'd like us to do now is to experiment with this particular connection. We've been going into the self, but now let's reach out and make that connection again. Very easy. Just continue to sit comfortably. Sitting quietly, I tune my consciousness